doing?
It's hard, but I can't stay at home.
Are you not concerned that by blocking the aid going to Gaza, a lot of Palestinians who are already suffering are starving?
It's a wrong question, okay? Because the aid gets to Hamas. The aid goes to Hamas.
Oh my God.
And let's get into this video.
Most mobilized activists in Israel are radical groups like Sav Tasha, led by Reut Ben-Haim. Today they're trying to block vital food aid getting to Gaza.
אנחנו רוצים חסימה אפקטיבית לאורך שעות, אנחנו רוצים לחסום לחמאס את האוכל.
She's sharing her message to her online followers.
בסדר? עוד כמה שעות מחבלים, חמושים, הולכים לטפס על המשאיות האלה ולחגוג. הם לא דורכים על המשאיות, הם דורכים על הכבוד של עם ישראל, הם דורכים עלינו. מאיפה לארגון הטרור הקטן והקיקיוני הזה יש יכולת להמשיך לפגוע בנו? מאיפה? כי אנחנו מזינים אותם.
So for those that can't look at the words, the closed caption, how come this little marginal terror organization,
מאיפה לארגון הטרור הקטן והקיקיוני?
how come this little marginal terror organization still has the ability to hurt us? When you're at war, it seems like no matter how much you can be defeating the other side, you still see yourself as a victim, as something happened to you and you're defending yourself. And we can sit here, look, I'm not going to have the whole argument of when this started. I think people can clearly understand that that's depending on whose perspective you're hearing it from. From an Israeli perspective, all of this started on October 7th, or at least this part of the revenge and this part of the response to it. They're responding to something that was initiated on October 7th. To Hamas, and I'm sure a lot of Palestinians who are not Hamas, just civilians, I'm sure they believe that this started long before October 7th. I'm sure that we identify where things start based on what our pain point is, not necessarily the pain that we put on somebody else. So for example, if I'm a Palestinian and my home was taken away from me 60 years ago, 70 years ago, then I would say that that's where everything started, because that's when I put in my mind, I'm stopping at nothing to get my house back. But it's just like the Game of Thrones. You get to a certain point, you don't know where the war started. Was it this? Was it that? The point is, we're here now, and she clearly sees herself as a victim in this. And that victimhood that she's embracing is what she's using to rationalize going to whatever extreme measures she believes that she has to in order to stop this terrorist group.
יש יכולת להמשיך לפגוע בנו. מאיפה? כי אנחנו מזינים אותם.
They're on their way to Nitzana, one of 3 aid entry points into Gaza that remain open. According to one Israeli think tank, 2/3 of Jewish Israelis oppose the transfer of humanitarian aid to Gaza residents. What I can't understand is how a mother of 8 is trying to block food to starving children in Gaza.
Okay.
How's your baby doing?
It's hard, but I can't stay at home.
Are you not concerned that by blocking the aid going to Gaza, a lot of Palestinians who are already suffering are starving?
It's a wrong question, okay? Because the aid gets to Hamas. The aid goes to Hamas.
We hit a roadblock with.
There's some things that I want to bring up as questions that I don't know how y'all are going to respond. Who's more ruthless, men or women? Who's more ruthless, do y'all think? And I'm not saying this is not one of these red pill, blue pill, men versus women conversations. I'm just bringing it up because it's something that has come up in my mind. Who's more ruthless? Now, we all have had that conversation about, oh, well, perhaps women are more emotional, maybe men, or whatever. The reason why I'm bringing it up, let me give some context around that. Okay, so Unc said women. I've had conversations with different people like regarding slavery and about how ruthless a lot of the slave owners' wives were. And I bring that up because when we talk about our culture, especially not having fathers in the household, one of the things that we always bring up is how emotionalized it makes people, right? How emotionalized the young boys are growing up to be, right? We've had that conversation, right? So just stick with me. This is not I'm not criticizing women. I'm not criticizing men. This is not what this conversation is that I'm trying to have with y'all. But I'm realizing that, or maybe I'm not realizing it, men are supposed to bring some structure and some fairness, even in situations that we are super emotionally engaged in. Men are supposed to be the ones that say, hey, I know I know my son's competing with that other team, but no, that's not right. If we had an unfair advantage, then we need to let somebody know. We're not just accepting that win if we had to get it by way of something that violated our principles and morals and values. Men are supposed to set the principles, morals, and values. Women, just like in the wild, when you see a mother go to extreme lengths to protect their child, go to extreme lengths to protect their child. When I look at these nature shows and I either see a giraffe being chased or any of these animals that lions are hunting, and you'll see a mother exhaust herself, go to the greatest lengths to protect that child, do anything. I see human beings as the same way. A mother protecting her child is a bit different. Not to say that a father won't obviously protect a child. So this is, I guess you could say, this isn't a criticism of women. This is actually something that I see as a positive. Women will go to the greatest lengths and extents to protect their children. And with a woman like this, if she sees a group like Hamas as a potential threat to her children and her lives and her family, then she's going to rationalize doing any and everything in order to eliminate this threat. It doesn't matter if she has to put Palestinians in the category of Hamas. It doesn't matter if she has to starve all the Palestinians, if that means starving Hamas as well. That's their mindset. So I don't know why I brought that up, but it's just an observation that I have when I'm going through the video. It just is what it is. Now, maybe y'all see it differently, perhaps, but it's just an observation. In my opinion, ma'am, with all due respect, go home. With all due respect, go home. Unc wrote, I would much prefer to be by my dad be whooped by my dad than by my mother any day of the week. A female grizzly bear is more dangerous than a male grizzly bear. Lioness will fight to the end. A male tiger or lion will take off if he's injured or knows he can't win. A female will fight to the end. I believe that. Let's keep going.
The border police. There's blurred lines between Reignited and those there to enforce the law.
Like, how can you have a baby have a baby on your back, but then you're preventing the
But Mum is still on her mission to get to the border. Since the beginning of the onslaught in Gaza, the delivery of food has been weaponized. In March of this year, UN experts called out Israel's imposed starvation. The first item of the ICC arrest warrant request says Prime Minister Netanyahu and his defense minister bear criminal responsibility for the starvation of civilians in Gaza. Hunger, terror, death. There's no respite for the Palestinians. I return to the activists blocking the aid. It seems the echo chamber between the Israeli mainstream media and social media is encouraging this kind of direct action. Reignited and her team have reached the crossing point into Gaza.
צריכים פה יותר אנשים בפעם הבאה, זה לא יכול להיות. תראו, זה אלימות, אלימות, אלימות.
Riyadh's live stream continues at the border fence.
של חטופה.
As she tends to her baby, I meet another activist from the group.
So have you managed to block the gate now?
Yeah, the gate is closed, as you can see here. We closed it, and the gate will remain closed until they evacuate us if they manage to.
The aid is being blocked, people are starving, and Israel's responsible for that.
The ones who are responsible is Hamas. They are the legitimate government of Gaza. They need to take responsibility. We are at war. It is the war. And I want Israel to win that war, and we need to put pressure on Hamas. And this is the right and the most efficient way to do so.
Yo, this is, it just goes to show you how extreme people will get. There's no, and let me be very clear. I'm not saying that they're wrong. I'm not saying that they're wrong and right, because it depends on what scale you're judging them on. What I'm saying is now I think I could say that it's evil. Now, whether you think it's justified evil, that's what I mean. Like, I'm not saying whether it's right or wrong. I could say it's ungodly. Let me keep going. Let me keep going. Let me keep going.
For the Savtasha group, their blocking is a success. No aid trucks got through that day. In the ensuing weeks, local media identifies some activists from the group ransacking aid trucks. Individuals within the Israeli forces reportedly tipped them off about where to target. Young settlers also stepped in, beating up drivers, looting aid, and even torching trucks heading to Gaza. The extremism reflected in these activists, both online and in the mainstream media, is coming from the top, from the Prime Minister himself, calling up biblical references of brutal retaliation. To his defense minister, calling up.
Listen to what Bibi just said. I'll read it. They are committed to wiping this evil.
The extremism reflected in these activists, both online and in the mainstream media, is coming from the top, from the Prime Minister himself, calling up biblical references of brutal.
The people and its entire leadership embrace them and believe. Hold on.
Retaliation.
The Bible commands us to remember what Amalek has done to us. When he said that the people, I assume that he's talking about the people have bought into Hamas, the people and its entire leadership embrace them and believe in them.
First and foremost, want to give a huge shout out to everybody that continues to tap in with us, like and subscribe and join our community. If you haven't already, please make sure that you do. We look forward to engaging in some dope combo with you that can help us all elevate. So like, subscribe, and maybe even share the video if you're feeling real generous. On that note, we'll let you get back to the video. See you soon. Ew.
Is he trying to say that all the Palestinians believe and embrace Hamas in order to rile up his own people? I'm really not confused. I'm confused on this, and it's a translation, so I don't want to take him out of context.
Biblical references of brutal retaliation.
זכור את אשר עשה לך עמלק, נצטווינו.
To his defense minister.
Let me ask y'all this question. Should the Bible justify what we're allowed to do? Like, should we be citing the Bible to justify what we should do towards somebody else in a current war situation in 2025? The Bible is outdated. People will use it to justify and to take literally certain verses when it suits their purpose, but it's outdated. It requires us to use too much of our own interpretation of it for us to be using it to condone war crimes.
אנחנו מטילים מצור מוחלט על העיר עזה. אין חשמל, אין מזון, אין מים, אין דלק. הכל סגור. אנחנו נלחמים בחיות אדם ואנחנו נוהגים בהתאם.
And his far-right coalition partner, Itamar Ben-Gvir.
We are fighting against human animals. We are fighting against human animals and we are acting accordingly. You see, it's one thing to, this is like a situation where, you know how in sports, you have like people like Draymond Green or like that dude on the Detroit Pistons. I don't know his name, but he's always getting into fights with everybody. Or you got a guy like, even like a Dennis Rodman, or you get like these enforcer type of players, or like some of the Boston Celtics, they had like a McHale, or I believe they had some of these players on their teams. You don't mind when that player's on your team, but you hate it when that player's on the other team. They may be doing stuff a little dirty, you know, doing stuff that's getting under the skin of the other players, violating certain rules and principles, but that's my teammate. So, you know, it suits my interest. So therefore I condone it. But if that person was on the other team, I would be calling out the bad behavior that they're doing, right? But we condone it when they're on our side. And I say that to say, like, it's easy to have a perspective that the people that you're fighting against are inhumane, are human animals, are terrorists. But then what we don't realize is the things that you're doing to fight against them is more inhumane than even the things that you accuse them of doing. Right? And haven't the news articles kind of pointed this out? Both Israeli news articles as well as Palestinian articles. So we just got to do better.
And his far-right coalition partner, Itamar Ben-Gvir, seen here at a rally in this clip shared online.
All right, so let's hold off on this. Hold on. All right, IROC in the building. So IROC wrote, "War is ugly. I believe at one point in human history, it was a necessity. I think we're at a point now where, again, we need to evolve solving conflict." And I get what you're saying, IROC. But I disagree. But I'm going to tell you why I disagree. I don't think war is ever necessary. I think it's just more justified for whatever reason. You take some of the wars that we're talking about, some of the wars where people were killed the most. Now, if you say, was a civil war justified? Yeah, well, I mean, I guess we could justify it, but, or I guess we could say it was a necessity, but it really wasn't a necessity. It was only a necessity based on people acting like idiots and living evil, you know, living in a demonic way where you think that you can enslave somebody based on the color of their skin, or enslave somebody for any other reason, because slavery had been going on, obviously, not just with America. You look at the Arab slave trade, you look at the Crusades, you look at Manifest Destiny, you look at all these different wars that were fought in the name of what? In the name of what? What did Steve just say earlier? Like, it's like just something, war is one of those things where, you know, people who don't know each other are fighting people who they don't hate, and they're convinced to hate this other group. What have the wars been fought? To get some land, to steal land? You know, you look at some of the wars that were fought here, some of the wars that were fought, or some of the wars that are still being fought in the Middle East. The wars that have happened with people trying to conquer and colonize much of the world. That's not a necessity. It was just justified in the name of God, because those people that we're taking the land from, they're less than us, if we're just looking at it being real. When you say that you can conquer, when in the Bible or any of these other books or any of these other rationalizations, they say that you can take a land, if they're not praising the same God that you praise, or the same, using the same religion to praise that God, right? It's all the same God, whatever. Then you're able to take that land. Like, that's not necessity. But I get what you're saying. You're saying the necessity is to fight against that. Self-defense, cool. But then we'll always get to a position where now we're arguing, like, who's on the defense and what's a justified defense. That in itself is a sin. Ben Wallace, not Ben Wallace. I didn't think Ben Wallace was a dirty player. Ben Wallace is not trying to fight everybody. There's a guy, Steven something. There's a dude on the Pistons right now who tries to fight everybody. Animals, the powers that be have to and this is exactly. Steve wrote, animals, the powers that be have to dehumanize a group in order to fully engage the minions to do unspeakable acts of violence and feel good about it. That's why they have to say all these things. These people are not animals. How? Let me ask y'all this. Just looking at it from this standpoint. And maybe this is one of those scenarios where people who seem to fight the hardest against each other, y'all got a lot more similarities than maybe a lot of others around the world. And the reason why I would say that Israel and Palestinians, perhaps y'all have a lot more similarities than y'all know or are willing to admit, is because I don't know of another group of people currently or in the past. Well, just look at what's happening now and just focus on y'all. Israel is willing to go to whatever risk or go to whatever extent, lengths, to defend. And I believe one of their mottos is like strike first or something like that. There's some type of strike first motto. Let me hold on. Israeli motto, strike first. But they're willing to go to whatever extent. It talks about it in the Jewish, if someone is coming to kill you, when one comes to kill you, rise early and kill first. So we have that on one side. And what are you doing it for? You're protecting your land, right? Your land, the land that God gave you. So you're willing to go to whatever extent, lengths, to protect your land. Isn't that the exact same thing that Hamas is doing? Isn't that the same thing that Palestinians are doing? A lot of them. They're fighting for what they believe is their land. Now, the only difference in the situation is obviously Israel believes that the land was given to them by God, and Palestinians, I'm not sure if they believe that it was given to them by God, but my home was here. Like I was here. Like, and when I say I'm not sure if they believe that they was given to them by God, I don't know how anybody believes that a piece of land was given to them by God, but they believe that it's their land. So you got two groups that are willing to go to whatever length to justify fighting for their land. They seem to be pretty similar to me. That seems to be pretty similar. All right, so I want to take a little bit of a turn, lighten it up somewhat, but talk about this situation with Shannon Sharpe and ESPN, and then we'll get back to the video with Tucker Carlson in that interview. We'll probably watch as much of that as we can, and may stay a little bit later today because I owed y'all a Wednesday show and I wasn't able to jump on. But let me share this tab, and yeah. It's Dak. Just want to thank you for checking out our video and visiting the OG Network. If you enjoyed the video, please make sure that you give us a like. And if you're looking to join a community of inspired individuals striving for purposeful abundance, subscribe. And if you're feeling real generous, share the video with some friends and family. All right, I'll see y'all soon. Ew.